Hey, Luke, thanks so much for taking your time to chat with us. Kicking
No
Blood
problem.
is pretty intense.
Yeah.
It's an intense role for you. Was there
Mhm.
something about the character of Robbie or about the premise itself that really drew you to want to be a part of this film?
Yeah, I think upon, reading the full script, as an actor, we generally only get two or three scenes to audition with. So you don't really know the scale of the project and,
Yeah.
and what actually is going to happen. But upon reading the whole script and then draft to draft, it's a scary moment when you sign on to a project and then they do a draft and then you don't know whether or not it's going to get drastically better or get drastically worse. And from draft to draft, it got so much better. They took out a lot of the subtext and things that, overcomplicate a story and left really the bones of the issue, which is care. People themselves need help. And no matter who you are, whether you're, down on your luck, dude, or you're a couple century old vampire, there's people out there to help you and there is help. And I think that was one thing that, really just jumped out to me is the mental struggle of all people. It's all ages, genders, everyone deals with their own stuff.
How was Robbie then originally described to you?
Well, it's very similar to how he is described now. I think the one thing is that as I read more scenes, the layers got pulled back. That he's not just an alcoholic for alcoholic's sake. It's that he's a man on a mission to try and get better, and no matter what he does, he just can't seem to pull himself out of that. He's got a good spirit and a good heart. And, sometimes, bad things happen to good people. And over, years of mistakes, you're kind of left with this shell of a human being. And I think that shell is where sometimes actors thrive because it's so many different aspects of character that you get to build around that shell. And Robbie was full of holes.
What do you think then it was about Robbie and his decision that really made Anna interested in giving up, drinking blood and
Yeah.
trying to be more of a human being than vampire?
Yeah, I think you almost hit it right on the head there. It's his humanity. It's his inability to give up. And there's a moment in the movie where his mindset changes from death to life. And I think that's the moment that Anna has only ever seen death. She's only been surrounded by death for the last couple hundred years, maybe more. And seeing a person who has every right to want to die, given the opportunity to die, and then chooses to move forward, I think that was kind of her switch and moment to be like, I don't have to live life like this, which I think is just a perfect analogy for life. Sometimes we feel like, it's been so many years that I've been drinking or smoking or this or that. It's like, it's too late for me, but it's never too late. You just need a good influence and effort and then sticking to that track, which I think that was kind of the perfect combo that they had.
I mean, there's such a great bond. You feel the chemistry between Anna
Mm.
and Robbie in this. Had you known Alana Bale before working on this, or did you just find there's an instant rapport between the two of you?
Yeah, it was instant rapport. We actually worked I worked on this movie called The Marijuana Conspiracy, or Marijuana Conspiracy. She was in it. We crossed paths only for a day, but I remember her character in the movie like tweaks out. It's like an experiment on smoking marijuana on women. That's a true story that they ran in the 70s in Toronto. And her character kind of tweaks out at the beginning and leaves. And I remember watching her being like, she's so freaking good. I want to work with her. So the moment I saw that her name, we only ended up doing a Zoom callback together. And again, Zoom is awkward, like especially for actors. You're trying to look into someone's eyes. You're like, man, there's no connection. We're on a screen here. But there was an immediate connection, an immediate kind of. I think we were both on the same page with our performances, which I think it makes our jobs a lot easier because we're giving and we're taking the same energy and it doesn't feel like we're, going on top of each other or someone's trying to pull each other. We were right there together, which was beautiful. I loved working with her. I would do it again in a heartbeat.
What were some of the scenes that maybe challenged you the most when it came to filming, whether it be emotionally or physically?
Well, physically, I would definitely say just the cold because, for a lot of that, so we're filming in Sudbury, small town in Northern Ontario. And it was cold. It was like minus, oh gosh, I think it was like minus 18 or minus 20 Celsius for Canadians who are watching here. You do the conversion rate straight on the screen for anyone who doesn't know. But it was cold, like very cold. I think that was one thing. At a couple moments, like one tear duct was like freezing. The tears would get like halfway through my eye, and they're like, "No, it's cold." But no, other than that, I think there was just such a trust, and we had really done a lot of prep. Blaine, the director, and the producer, and Jen, the other producer, and we've writer producers. We really did a lot of prep work so that by the time we got onto screen, we were very comfortable. And I'm pretty comfortable doing anything, whether it's, hallucinating, tripping, doing these awkward kind of sex scenes. Maybe that one was funny. We had like the kissing scene, and because of COVID protocols, they kind of had pulled back on what it was. And then me and Lana ended up just kind of rubbing our faces on each other, which we were basically like, we trust you, dude, but this looks weird, man. Like, this felt weird. It must have looked weird. But honestly, looking back, we were like, wow, it looks so passionate and so great. Like, you would never know how awkward we felt in the moment. But no, it turned out very well.
Talk about working with director Blaine Thurier then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was great. I think, one thing that he really did, he does his prep work. And we spent a lot of time going through the script, going through the characters, and he really gives the actors the ability to make choices, to be creative, through the prep. I'm sometimes bad. I get very caught up in the words that come out of my mouth. So if they don't feel genuine, I sometimes don't like to say them. So I ask whether or not we can change them. And if they can't be changed, they can't be changed, sure. But he was very open to tweaking his words. They're his words. He's co-writer. He's sat with these words. So to give trust to an actor to make modifications to your own words it was honestly very refreshing. And then his directions on top of that were great. He's a perfect actor's director because he knows when to move in and tell you what you need. And I think the whole thing is that if you trust someone, I'm a tool. He's the carpenter. The tool doesn't really get a say. So if that's what he wants, I'm all here for it. And I trusted him fully. And I think we both did. And that kind of really just showed in everyone's performances.
It's such a great film, but as we did touch on it, there are some intense emotional moments there as well. How did you shake off a long day of filming?
It's funny. I'm not really much of a drinker, so to get in the drinker's mindset, I was kind of drinking the days before filming and days leading up to filming, and I felt so sick. It was actually funny that all of the emotional stuff was prior. The moment you get on set, I don't know, we were filming in the middle of the night for a lot of it. So when you get home and it's 4:00 in the morning, I was just like, I had a massage gun. I would like take the massage gun and like fall asleep with it in the bed and like I was obsessed with kitchen nightmares during this whole period of filming. So I would just go home, take a nice long bath, watch Kitchen Nightmares, and fall asleep with the massage gun in my bed, and then be like, what time is it? I gotta go to work. It's 2 PM.
And then Gordon Ramsay and everyone just sort of impeded your nightmares.
Yes, but it was like weird because it's such a, acting is weird because you have to be sad and be stressed and be emotional, but then also just be a regular human being on set. And I think that, there was a moment after me and Alana had kind of finished our emotional, like heady, angry stuff, we ended up kind of then joking a lot on set. And we were like, oh, this was the turning point. Now we can kind of have fun and not just be angry the whole time. But no, it was
the levity.
It was just a great set. And yes. And I'm someone, I like staying in character. I like being in character, but it's not always a necessity to be an angry drunk. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not an angry drunk, so I don't need to treat everyone on set like that. I think there was, there's the respect of like, keep it quiet, keep that headspace, but I'm not gonna fucking yell at you.
Don't go method.
Yes, right. I think that there really is a fine line between taking the character home with you and staying in the moment. And there's lots of examples of actors who it's shocks where you can be joking and laughing and then just like on a dime turn it into rage. I'm like, I think that there's more skill and technique there than just being angry all the time and yelling Daniel Day-Lewis style. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's the balance, I think.
What do you think it is then about Kicking Blood that's going to make it a quick, fast fan favorite fantasy film?
Yeah, I think, it's kind of the whole mix of genres. I think it's a vampire film for people who don't like vampire films, and it's a love film for people who maybe don't like love films. It's got that mix. It's got humanity. It's got levity. It's got a little bit of comedy. The acting is impeccable. Honestly, there's Ben and Ella, they play the two other vampires. Honestly, I was just like, I like watching actors and learning. And I was like, I'm just learning so much watching you two. It's the relationship that they have, the relationships between obviously the vampires, between Rosemary Dunsmore's character and Anna. There's so much to grab onto. It's not a one-dimensional film. If you don't like one thing, I guarantee you'll find 4 other things that you do like to supplement maybe that one thing that you aren't too crazy about.
What are the other projects then you've been busy working on?
I went from that other project, Marijuana Conspiracy, straight to this one, and then I went on to that. It's just out right now on CBC. It's going to be on BET Plus in the States. It's called The Porter. It's based on the 1920s, the Porters who created the first Black unions in Canada and America, and basically the story of the African American and Canadian struggle to become, equal portion of society. It was an incredible project to be a part of, and I'm just so happy it turned out just beautiful. Yeah, it'll be out in May in the States, and we're on our final episode tomorrow in Canada.
What would you like to say then to everyone who are fans and supporters of the wonderful work that you do on our screens?
Oh, well, thank you so much for, following this crazy career of mine. And I hope that, I can give you some laughter, maybe a little bit of sadness, a little bit of levity, and just you enjoy the projects that are coming out. It's a pleasure to have people watching and enjoying the work.